Adam, dude, welcome to the Chinsanity show. Thanks for being here. I know you just DM'd you on X, and then you're like, "Yo, let's do it."
Yeah, why not?
It's
Pleasure.
awesome. Yeah.
No, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. And Adam, right? A lot of big things have happened in your life recently, right?
Yeah, both. Yeah, kind of personally and work-wise. So I've just moved to Dubai, where we are here now. Been here about 4 weeks. Probably never go back. I'm loving it out here. I like the climate. I like the city. Just really having a good time, and it also enables me to come and meet a lot of people like you just while you're in town, like really easily. So finding that network effect really great. So yeah, massive Dubai fan now. Also recently had a baby. So my first son was born this week, which is incredible. This week.
Oh wow!
Literally this week. So. I'm very fortunate to have a wife who will, sort of allow me to still do that, but also still get out here and do what I need to do. And yeah, in the midst of all that, I've built a company called Football.Fun, which hopefully some of the listeners have heard of. We really started a year ago, but most people heard of us in August because it's one of those things where people see it as an overnight success or an overnight thing they've just sort of seen. But actually tons of work went into sort of getting to that point. So yeah, we've been 14 months, launched fully in August. We're at nearly $90 million trade volume.
Wow.
And over $10 million of revenue in that time. 20,000 paying users. Probably by now about like 6,000 or 7,000 who are like, actually big wallet sizes or like decent wallet sizes. But yeah, people are just really enjoying the game. And I think one of what we're trying to do really is be that consumer app that people have long wanted to see, which is actually not just there for like number go up for 20 minutes. It's like, this is a real project that we think has legs and sustainable and is fun. So yeah, that's kind of what we're really going to be dedicating the next years to is building up that product from here.
Yeah. You guys have been cooking the timeline. And I think I told you this before we recorded, right? Sports is what got me into crypto and all that, right? Through Top Shot.
Yeah.
And recently, while we recorded this, I think 2 days ago, you guys announced something big. Patrice Evra, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
How did you guys even get someone like that to be an investor and ambassador for you guys?
It's kind of wild, yeah. So we really started talking to him about 4 or 5 months ago. So we knew basically through a mutual connection, we got the first conversation with his family. So his family look after like his business interests. We first met them, his brother, and really just started talking to him about the game. And what was really interesting about Evra was it was just a completely different conversation to what I was used to having I'd had a few conversations with like the agents of big athletes. And really, they were like, "Yeah, cool game. Talk about that a little bit." But they were just wanting to like, right, how many millions is my guy getting? And I'm like, "Well, we're a startup, bro. Like, you are not getting $1 million like up front."
Yeah.
Evra was just completely different. We didn't talk about money. We talked about the game. He was interested. He liked the team. He liked our attitude. And the conversation was about, "Hey, how much can I invest in you guys?" So yeah, he gets an upside, but it's only if we all win. And we even like got into conversations about like arguing about the scoring system, and like he thought, because he's like a tough player, right? So he was like, why are yellow cards a bad thing, man? Like you can get a good yellow card, and you can take your man out. That's good for the team. I think that should count in your game. And I'm like, at first I was arguing with him, like, no one does that in fantasy. But then after I was like, damn, like he's right. Like you can actually get a good yellow card. So yeah, he was like just super passionate about the game. Serial winner. I love his personality. And I think a year ago when I was starting out, I literally joked with the team around, hey, one day we're going to get Patrice Evra. He's going to hold the app up to the camera and he's going to say, "I love this game," because that is his like catchphrase. So it's perfect. So that's what we've been getting trending on Twitter because it's kind of just like perfect for us. But yeah, I love his attitude. He lights up every room he's in. But he's not a clown. He jokes, but he is one of the most disciplined serial winners that is notorious in the sport for being like super hardworking. And he's translated that attitude into business now because he doesn't stop. He's obviously made his money in football, but he doesn't want to sit around the rest of his life. He wants to invest in things and support things he really cares about. So yeah, we're lucky that we're one of them for us.
That's crazy. Did he ever use the platform before you guys were in talks and stuff?
Not before, but when we started talking, he started checking out. So there's like footage of him like talking, like playing it with his brothers and like talking about his favorite players and like buying his favorite players. So yeah, he wouldn't do this if he didn't play. So he's he actually enjoys the game, which is great.
Yeah, it's crazy. You guys announced that. I was like, yo, that is sick. You guys got like a pretty well known football player on as an investor and ambassador.
Yep.
And man, I feel like almost every week you guys are doing something, announcing something big. I know TG is coming and stuff like that. And
you kind of have to in this space. So I think we've got that kind of long-term vision, and we want to take this. I think 2026 will be the year that we have built the product improvements that we know we need to present this to a mainstream audience. Like the quality bar goes up. Web3 guys will kind of climb over broken glass on their hands if they think they're going to make money, and they will accept that we haven't really polished the onboarding experience, etc. But once you start bringing that to a mainstream audience from maybe sports betting or DFS, they want everything to be perfect, else they'll try the app, open it for 10 seconds and go, oh, I don't understand that, and then put it down. All that stuff has to be perfect. So we'll get that right, but we're also people like myself and Caleb and Rix and all the rest of the team. We've all been around Web3 for a long time, and we know that you don't have years to keep people interested. You've got basically days and weeks, and crazy. People are just constantly thirsty for like the next thing. So we always try and line that up. So yeah, we've got the Patrice Evra thing was this week. We also teased that we're doing an ICO with Kraken and Legion. Wow. Next week is going to be huge. The awkward timing is that when you get close to TGE, the lawyers start telling you what you can and cannot say. So I can't give out dates. But yeah, it's gonna be soon. We're gonna do the ICO and then move into a TGE shortly afterwards. And we've got some amazing partners. So the first two that are doing our pre-sale is Kraken and Legion, who are really, really good partners for that. They've got a very good record of like getting the pre-sale into the hands of the right sort of holders, like the guys who aren't just necessarily there to immediately buy it and then dump after 7 minutes, which is just endemic in crypto now. Like it's almost like if 2021 everyone was like, right, they sort of praised the holder, right?
Yeah.
And now it's the opposite. If you're a holder, you're a dumbass, and you've got to like everyone just thinks you've got to sell everything immediately, else you're just a sucker. Which is sad, it doesn't.
And I don't think that moves our industry forwards.
No,
right? It's just very extraction. Right? Everyone's just extracting from each other.
It does. It's almost like you feel like the industry kind of eats itself at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been no stranger to that. We had our market cap go like way up, and then everyone was like, "Hey, great! Now I can make some money," and then they sell. And that makes life hard for you as a founder, but also for kind of anyone else in the industry, because whilst everyone might make money on that one day, they then look like, where's their next thing coming from? It's a difficult spot for crypto, and you sort of see this kind of nihilism on the timeline, where actually crypto's never been better in a lot of ways. Like the actual mainstream adoption, the legal regulatory aspect of the space is like better and better than ever. But everyone got wrecked on altcoins this year, and they're all depressed. And I think that's just like, that is feeding into like the current thinking and atmosphere on CT. So we really try and like be the product people have always wanted. But we also know like it's not a case of, hey, you break out once and then everything's great forever. It's just not, life isn't that nice. It's a hard grind of like the next year or two, building, like improving the product and keeping on delivering these like really exciting moments that keep people interested as well.
Yeah. Building real products. I think something you mentioned in some of the podcasts that you've done is I think the main thing is the North Star, right? Instead of just extraction, this is just a sports platform where you just make money. Right?
Yeah.
But people want to have fun. People want to be entertained.
Yeah. Right? I do believe that. And I think that has got a bit lost in the last year of like gambling. And I think ultimately people will swing back behind like that big breakout app that does start making it. But we've got to battle through all the PTSD and cynicism of the last 3-4 years. And I feel it too, because I've been rugged like multiple times. I've been let down by founders. I've got like often you can like get too attached to founders, like if you like them. And then I typically hold everything. Like I am the best community member because I don't trade very often. So like very occasionally you get rewarded for it, but most of the time you do not.
Yeah.
A good example this week was actually the Fableborn token.
Yeah. It was yesterday, right?
So
while we're recording this,
so Web3 gaming has obviously been it's taken an absolute kicking this year. This is one of the few token launches that seems to have gone well. They're a great team. I've become quite good friends with Cam and a few of those other the team members there. I always knew they were good, and they've kind of done this at the right time. I'll definitely try and pick his brains about like what they've done to like make their TG a success. But one of them that I noticed is I've been one of their original holders for like forever. I've just kind of forgotten about it. I play the game, but I hold this NFT called the Primordial, and I've never really done much with it. And then yesterday before their TG, they just dropped loads of USDC on the guys who held for a while. And that made a lot of them stand up and go, oh, actually, I've been rewarded. I feel good about this. I'm going to come out and support this launch, which they didn't have to do. But it's not only is it a good thing to do, it's also very smart marketing and business sense. I think building that coalition of like hardcore people who feel really attached to the product, and you've rewarded them for sticking with you on not just on the up, but on that down. That is what creates your super fans, the guys who are there with you for years. And that's an approach that I like and I find inspiring.
Yeah, definitely like rewarding your loyal community members and stuff like that. Like in sports, right? In a way, right? Sometimes clubs, we won't get there as a huge sports fan myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I've been a sports fan for a long time and this team's always suck, but somehow I'm just so loyal to them.
Yeah, I don't know. The culture in the UK is that you're just kind of born with it.
Yeah.
I'm a Leeds United fan. They've mainly sucked for 35 years, but
you're from there, I'm guessing. Right?
I'm from Leeds originally.
Yeah.
That's the team my family supported, so that's what you get.
Yeah.
But then I also did it to myself because when I started really getting into NFL like around about a year ago. In sort of preparation for doing this. But we have hired like real hardcore NFL experts on the team as well. But I started really getting into it because I was one of those Brits who was like, is it really football though? And then I found like the more I watched it and understood it, I was like, okay, I get this now. I'm actually really enjoying this sport. So I picked the Ravens, Baltimore Ravens, because they're like a tough. They're from like a tough city, which is kind of like similar to Leeds, and they're not that great.
Blue collar,
they're a tough city and not that great, which is quite like Leeds. So I like to back the underdog and play on hard mode. So I went for the Ravens.
Okay, yeah. I mean, being a Ravens fan the last couple of years, you're usually like a regular season team, and then once you get the playoffs, you meet someone called Patrick Mahomes.
Yes,
and but who knows? Who knows this year? I mean, there are a lot of injuries, but the Ravens are still there, still in the division. So
yeah, they're doing okay.
Yeah, but I'm just curious, like Adam, like how'd you even start with Football.Fun? Like, what came about? Like, I mean, you mentioned you're a big football fan and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but yeah, what made you want to build this project?
It really feels like the last. I've been on my sort of entrepreneur arc for about 8 years. Most often working in fantasy sports,
interesting.
related products. So
for football,
always for football. So I actually started my career in the UK government. I was this surprises people. So I did a sort of midlife pivot. Around about I hit 30, and I'd spent about 10 years basically delivering like large scale infrastructure projects, UK government. I also spent 2 years in the Foreign Office as a diplomat. And I hit about 30 and I was doing well by other people's standards, but I was looking at the people ahead of me and like, do I really want to do this forever? And I was like kind of depressed and not really knowing why. And it was because I was basically living someone else's life is what I figured out. So I wanted to like start working on my own projects and on my own businesses, one of the things I've always been really passionate about and have done basically as a hobby, but put a lot of hours in, was like fantasy sports and like winning like real cash games. So the advice I got from other friends who had run their own businesses was just kind of do anything, like pick the thing you know the most about and do that. So I set up this like sports analytics firm, which was really just myself and initially, and I would work, like I started a social media presence, and I would also work with like high net worth individuals and help them win real cash fantasy sports games through like research and analysis. Grew that to like 5,000 monthly subscribers and about 15, 20 high net worth individuals. And I ran that for 2 or 3 years to the point where I could leave my main job and do that. And that went well for like 2 or 3 years, but I just got a bit lonely. Like it was like solo job. I wanted to build something a bit bigger. So the first thing I did was reach out to So Rare, who were popping at the time. So this was like kind of like NBA Top Shot sort of time.
And were you into crypto already at that time?
I was into crypto, yeah. So I remember buying ETH when it was like $50.
Wow.
And that kind of thing. So I was there. And So Rare was obviously like kicking off. So I reached out to them and ended up I built them their first free-to-play game, basically. So they commissioned me and a major fantasy sports website to build what was called So Rare Academy. And the idea was it would help like new users experience So Rare without having to spend $1,000 first. So I learned a lot in that 2 years there of like how to onboard new users to crypto, what worked in the So Rare game, what didn't work. And I was building that, and that game was running. And then I also joined a mobile gaming studio who were building a fantasy sports product as their head of product as a result of that. It's called Formation Games. I was there for 2 or 3 years. Part of the reason they wanted to hire me was they were moving into Web3 at the time. And after like FTX, so like 2 or 3 years down the line, the founders just decided they wanted to move away from Web3. And I was like, I don't agree. I didn't think it was the right move. I thought even though FTX was happening and everyone's sad about crypto, I was still bullish. You know, I was like,
I feel like everyone left.
Everyone left.
Those big brands. And speaking of sports brands, right? Adidas had something, Nike had Artifact and all that. Mm-hmm. And they just, because I don't want to deal with it. And
it's hard, you know, and I think a lot of people just saw an easier path elsewhere. I disagreed. I thought the reason it's worth doing is because it's hard and because everyone else is leaving and it leaves like the ocean clear for you to play in. But I lost that argument. And then the company moved in a different direction. We parted ways amicably. It was just kind of difference of opinion about the direction, really. And then I then went to work with they were a blockchain like company building. They had one product, which was like a payments product, and they had a bunch of other products. And I said to them, look, the payments product is your best product. Like, we should focus on this. So we reformed that company. It was called Spark. It processed crypto payments. Our first biggest client was actually Portal Coin, like way back when they were like big. So we processed their like initial token sale. It was like $28 million of revenue coming through our platform. Built that to like, we had like 30, 40 clients in the first 6 months off the back of that success. And then we got acquired by Portal. So they then turned that into their product, Portal Pay. So I had a sort of side quest into payments, but really then I worked with them because it's part of the acquisition, you have to. But really I just wanted to be a founder again and always had wanted to come and build the product I'd really wanted to build. So Football.Fun was like the product of all that experience in different sports games. Learnings from Top Shot and So Rare, like the early movers, and you know this is the thing I really want to do for like the rest of my life. I would if that is a possible future, and it feels like that history just kind of comes together to make this something which is kind of part of my story, and it makes sense to most people that I'm building this product because of that story.
Yeah, I think one thing that resonated with you with kind of your journey. And something actually, I have a really similar career path and kind of late in my 20s, like I pivoted to what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of people feel like in your 20s, you mentioned in your 30s, you're like, hey, I want to kind of not start over, but do things I actually want to do.
It was both.
Yeah. Right. Because a lot of people are like, I got to figure things out when I'm in my 20s. Like the career I'm in, it's forever. I'm going to do this.
Yeah. I think for most people, that's true. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do feel trapped by like if you have like a moderate amount of success, especially because people did think I was absolutely crazy. Like if you work for the UK Foreign Office, that's considered to be a very good job.
Yeah, that's very stable working for the government.
Very stable. Like you'll have a good life. It's interesting. But is it though? It felt like I was living someone else's good life actually, which is like even more frustrating. So yeah, I think it's difficult to do, but I never really looked back, even when it's been really hard.
Yeah.
And there are times on that journey when it's been extremely hard. And also like the uncertainty that gives to your personal life as well. So like I've actually been with my wife that whole 8-year period. So, you know, she stuck around at times when I was like, right, I'm actually just going to leave my job now and I don't know what I'm going to do next. And she was like, all right, I got your back. And not all partners will do that. So sort of lucky to have that as well in my life. So yeah, I don't regret it for a second, but it has been like a really, really hard 8 years. But I think that is the point as well. And if you listen to a lot of the kind of really big CEOs or entrepreneurs, like the NVIDIA CEO, Justin Sun, I remember seeing him do a talk and people were asking him like, what's your secret? And he was like, I literally wish suffering upon you. Right, like
Jensen Huang. Sorry. Justin Sun's the other guy, but
sorry. Thanks for the correction. He is that process that actually makes you better, and I think like I feel like I'm 10 times better than I was 2 years ago or 3 years ago because you're doing stuff that is hard every day. But
you like it.
You're
passionate about it. Right?
I am.
You're willing to put in the time, you know, that takes to build.
100%. Like my life is basically I get up at 7 a.m. I'm probably answering messages in bed at 6 a.m. and then I get up at 7 a.m. And really I'm not done till 8, 9 p.m. You know, and I take breaks in the day. I go to the gym and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, being a founder sucks. You know, like a lot of people ask me like, how do you do it? And I'm like, well, I probably wouldn't. Like for most people, it is not a suitable profession because you have to sacrifice a lot to be able to do it. And it's really, really not easy. And most people don't make it either. Like the success rate is really low. So yeah, it's a tough thing to do, but I wouldn't do anything different. It just kind of suits me, I think.
Yeah. No, that's great. Like that's because I feel like, especially my audience is very young, right? They're in high school. I mean, crypto Twitter, who has time to be on crypto Twitter all day?
Yeah.
Right? Is young people. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people always feel like they're trapped or feel like, oh, I can't go here because of this and that. But like, I feel like you can't, it's going to be hard. But you can if you really like what you're doing and you know you have some talent.
You can, and you also don't have to get it right first time either. Like you know, I think even I don't feel like the first 10 years I spent in the UK government, or if it had been like a corporate job, like let's say you'd gone and worked for Facebook or Google or whatever. This is not wasted time. You learn a ton in that period, which I still apply every single day. There's certainly something I notice when hiring people is that if you go straight from like school straight into like Web3 degenning, you kind of skip a lot of steps in your learning, and it's very apparent actually. Like, you know, some people can be brilliant at like the Web3 thing, but you're like, sometimes they'll like write a paper or something and you're like, you never learned how to spell. That's interesting. That's interesting. Like you can do all this cool stuff, but you miss a lot of that. Like,
or book a call with you.
Yeah,
and you don't show up.
And you don't show up. Yeah, it's like there are a lot of times like it wasn't wasted time, and I think like as long as you are doing something that is like you're learning stuff and building connections, like you can kind of just do anything and not worry too much about what it is as long as you're learning because you can change. You know, along the way.
For sure, and going back to Football.Fun, the origins. So then, okay, so you were working for like Somewhere, doing stuff for other projects, and then started Football.Fun. So
It was 14 months ago.
14 months ago. Okay, this is not that long ago. It's like a year and 2 months.
Wild year. So yeah, the story, basically I'd left Portal. No one would fund Football.Fun. So I made my pitch deck.
Really?
The market sucked at that time for investing in general. And also it was off meta. So it was like no one was investing in anything which looked like a game. But also prediction markets were not really talked about as a thing. Now everyone's like, hey, this is a gamified prediction market, like throw money at this thing. But that was not the case 14 months ago. It was just a pitch deck. So I ended up funding it basically myself with a few friends. We scraped 300K together from people who probably wouldn't have backed it except they liked the team. Like that is what friends and family rounds is for, like semi sort of pity investment. And so yeah, we at this point we're like not taking salaries and that kind of thing as well. And we very rapidly put together our MVP and launched in February and did zero marketing. Like we created an X handle and then launched a product, which is very unusual in crypto because normally you do like the big fancy marketing trailer and then say, yeah, we might build something in a year. Let us cook. And we wanted to do like the opposite of that and be like, and we came on Twitter and people were like, okay, cool. When can I play? And we're like, right now. Like it's literally available. And it was free to play. So we wanted to validate that we actually had a good game that people wanted to play without the cash, because you need that. If you haven't got that, the money doesn't matter eventually. You might get the pump, but you're never going to sustain. So we went out and found like 2,000 representative sample users, like guys who'd been big on Top Shot, maybe played So Rare, maybe played like real cash games in Web 2. And we got them into it and we started building a really good player base, like people who liked the game, were having fun.
How did people hear about the game? Like, just
mainly like word of mouth. So we have quite a lot of connections in like the So Rare space and the guys who played NBA Top Shot, and we just started snowballing it that way. And then we did like a little friends referral scheme for like play money. So like come and invite your friends, they can start. And we got to about 2,000 players that way. Well over like 50% retention in a game that had no cash. So we thought, hey, people are enjoying themselves. We've got this. And the next step was launching the real cash version, which is a terrifying experience because you have to basically send $2 million into a smart contract in the middle of the internet somewhere. And at some point you have to press the button that makes that happen, which was probably one of the most terrifying days of my life.
So wait, sending $2 million on chain?
On chain, yeah, because you have to like, our economics are very novel. So the money in the market we don't actually own. Like this is properly like decentralized player-owned market. So all the money that players are trading with just lives in this smart contract, and I can't withdraw that money. It is literally player-owned cash. So in order to seed the initial liquidity, you have to put that money in there so that the players have a pool of money to start with. And we raised $2 million from investors to seed that market, basically. And then you have to deploy it into the smart contract where you can't control it anymore. And that's a terrifying thing. Like being a Web3 founder is that decentralization kind of means is that you actually don't have the keys to that money if anything went wrong. And obviously we got it audited in all the correct ways, but it's still it took a good week or two before I'd stopped worrying about it because you have to do that. Anyway, we really planned August as like our big breakout moment. Everyone always says in crypto, yeah, we're going to go viral on crypto, but very few people actually do it.
Yeah.
So I remember pitching like investors and partners and saying, right, this is our marketing plan. August is going to be when we're going to do this. And we basically built the product around virality. So this basically means like borrowing the price action of meme coins, where everyone likes to buy at like the rock bottom sniper entry price, right? Because you get a very quick kind of multiple from that. So we used like meme coin casino as GTM strategy was our playbook. And
really targeting those Web3 people.
Very much targeted only at the Web3 audience. I think you've got to pick that niche early on. If you try and serve like the Web2 audience at the same time, one, our product wasn't good enough yet. It still isn't for that. Like it's people are having fun in the game. There's a lot missing from our like ultimate vision. But we knew we needed to focus on that Web3 audience. We know what they like. They want fast announcements. They like liquid tokens that move fast. But the difference being like, this is in a context people understand now. So with the meme, I kind of missed the meme coin craze. I never really traded around that. I don't get why the dog with the hat is worth more than the cat with the bat. Like, I just don't have time to keep on top of that. But here you've got like the price action that is similar, but in a context that you understand. Like, I understand why one footballer might be better than another footballer. And a lot of people in the world do. Sports is the most popular hobby. So give them that price action, but in a context that they feel like they have an edge in. That's kind of what the early phase of Football.Fun was about. So it worked, basically. Like we had very little spend on marketing. I think we spent about $50,000 on marketing. I think I checked the Kaito stats at the time. We were like 73% mind share on crypto for that week of like August, when it just went absolutely
I think
insane.
That's when I first started hearing about this sports fantasy Web3 kind of thing.
Yeah. And a lot of people were just like, what the hell is this?
Like,
I was like, where has this come from? What is it? Who actually runs this? Is it a scam? Is it going to die?
Honestly, that's the first thing I thought of. But then I saw Caleb like backing. I was like, okay, this might be a little more legit than...
That's why we've kind of assembled a team who know what they're doing, but have also been around in like 5-6 years in the space. And that does help. But you don't fully overcome people's skepticism. Like, it's a very kind of PTSD driven space, and you just got to keep showing up, and that is the only way I think you overcome that kind of attitude. So that's what we're doing. But yeah, we very, very quickly just sort of went like very, very viral. Everyone's sharing their packs and their P&Ls and everything like that. And then inevitably you then hit that point. If you go up that high, you are coming down. Like, there's just there's kind of very few examples of anything that doesn't happen to in crypto. So we went through that period as well, which was really hard, because then everyone is like, you felt like you're at the center of a hurricane, and everyone is like messaging you going, what's happening? Is the product dead? And you're like, no, we're absolutely fine. And
you're a scammer.
Well, not quite, but yeah, we did get,
I got some of those too.
We got some of those, not too many. We had like, certainly like some persistent guys who were like footing and whatever. We even had guys like, we had some people paying people like en masse to come and FUD. That's crazy. Like, join our Discord like 50 at a time and just say.
But people pay people to FUD projects? It's
actually, what is wild in crypto is that I kind of knew went on but didn't quite know, is that on the surface everyone's like community and we're all in together and let's all build together and one rising tide like lifts all boats. Like, bullshit. Like, it's a knife fight. And like, as soon as we started succeeding, we had people paying people to DDoS us like 24/7 just to wear us down. Yeah, like just to wear us down and distract us.
And they join Discord and just like FUD.
Join Discord and FUD. Spend like, we spent weekends just like under attack by DDoSers, which when you're kind of new, you don't quite yet have the infrastructure ready to fully defend that. So in that, we've become a lot stronger actually. So it was annoying at the time, but in the end, we were starting to think, hey, thanks for the free stress testing. So, and our systems are now much more resilient. And as soon as they were doing it and it didn't work, they stopped. But yeah, we got weeks of that, of people just like constantly DDoSing us. And you can pay a few £1,000s or a few $1,000s for people to do that in like, some parts of the world. Yeah. And they will just do it constantly. And it drains your energy.
The new Superman movie?
No, I haven't. No.
So there's one scene where they lock up Superman, and then they have these monkeys that they literally write hateful comments online 24/7. It reminds me of that.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, right? And you sort of think, well, who is doing this? And it can be anyone. It can be like a direct competitor. Wow. It can be anyone who wants the attention that you've got. Yeah. So it's not even just like a direct competitor. It could be like, they wanted to launch their product this week and you're occupying the attention. So yeah, it's a real knife fight out there. And you see like what happens with like Kalshi and Polymarket and all those lawsuits, they're cooked up by like competitors, and all of these things will eventually happen, and it's like the price of success is that people come for you, and you've got to weather that as well, and also realize that you are in that knife fight, and you've got to be a really kind of strong, resilient team as well, and get through it.
Yeah, I actually really appreciate that, because I think as a user of like crypto products, I never hear the behind the scenes as much of what actually goes down. And obviously you're not going to like post about these things as much, but like, yeah, that's crazy. Like getting attacked from all fronts and still
you
trying
do,
to
man.
keep things on.
All I ever wanted to do is build a football game, right? But you do not think on day one, because you're so occupied with product and how exciting and how cool it's going to be. But in the end, like as you hire more people and you get bigger, you have to give away more of the stuff you really enjoy. So we've like I've hired a really great head of product recently called Anna. So she's handling a lot of like the product and like bringing that forward. And I now deal with a lot more of the shit, and like the business side and the investment. And so, yeah, you start off like thinking, all right, I want to build a cool football game, and you end up doing business, but I enjoy that side too. And, I think that is where I can make the most impact now, so yeah, that's what I spend my time doing, is where I can make the biggest impact that I can for the business, really.
Yeah 100%. And so I signed up recently, and then there was a notification I got on top of the screen, said this is not officially licensed by European Football Club or NFL.
Yeah.
So you guys not officially licensed by them yet, or how does that work?
Yeah, you've got to be. I mean, the world is full of unofficial games, so there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
But you do have to follow. There's kind of established rules about what you can and can't do.
Okay.
So we pay for a data license. So depending on the sport, there's a data license that you pay for that allows you to pipe the real-time stats into the game.
Okay. Kind of what fantasy does.
And you're allowed to report factually on, hey, this player, Patrick Mahomes, scored this touchdown. What you can't use is real imagery, kits, badges, anything like the NFL
logos.
logo. So we're just like really careful and respectful in what we do there. And that notice is also like generally considered good practice, because one of the things like unscrupulous companies would do would be trying to like pass this off as something which is official NFL product or whatever. So by jamming that notice on the front, no one can ever say that we're doing that. It's pretty clear, as you say.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Yeah.
But also, like, I think there is like there's certain. I think people care less these days about whether it's official. I think our whole business model is actually about maximizing reward to the end user and being like as lean as possible. So like really squeezing down our costs. So there's no fancy office in New York or London or Dubai. We all work from home. It's a remote first company. We're very modest in like our spending. We don't overpay ourselves. We basically prioritize how much money can we give back to the players, or like keep in the market for the players. Because give back is actually the wrong word. In our model, we never take it in the first place, right? When people spend $1 on the platform, 97 cents goes into that money, like that contract in the middle, which is actually just user funds. So we take our 3% fee. We actually put, even of our 3% fee, we're actually putting 40% and often more straight back into the sports market in buyback. So we're actually on a very tight margin in what we operate in, and that is basically one of our central business thesis, is that you've got to people play things that feel rewarding. We've got to not just do better than other Web3 games, we've got to do better than DraftKings, we've got to do better than FanDuel. And if you're not, why bother, right? So we're using this tech in a way which I think is genuinely beneficial to people.
Right.
And particularly in Web2, there's been iterations of like sports trading platforms. What they really lacked, amongst many other things, was transparency. You had no idea how much money they had in the platform, whether they were lying to you. Here, we're just a complete open book. You know how much money is in our market. It's not even our money. You know we can't do anything with it. And honestly, I wouldn't build this product without Web3 tech, which is a good sign that we're doing it for the right reasons, I think.
And I always say, like, I think I created a post, and I've been hearing a lot of people saying this is, don't say that we're creating crypto products, Web3 products. Just create great products powered by blockchain that are better
Correct.
than what's, like you said, what we have in Web2.
100%. And I think we'll stop talking about it eventually. It's like, imagine like marketing your mobile game because you run on AWS or Google. Like no
one says that. Yeah.
literally nobody cares. Like, hey, cool game, man, but what infrastructure do you use?
What blockchain do you
like
use?
literally no one cares. I think we will 2026 for us is really about making that transition.
Yeah.
Obviously we'll always be like a crypto native game.
You guys are on Base, right?
We're on Base.
Okay.
We're actually the biggest consumer app on Base now by revenue and volume.
Wow.
We've got a Base mini app now. We speak to that team daily. We've got a really, really strong relationship with them. They've got a lot coming up this month. So I think December 17th is their big launch date. We've got a small part to play in that as well, which is really exciting for us. So yeah, like really thrilled with that partnership. Really, they get some stick sometimes. They're not the type of blockchain that kind of picks winners, or some founders have been disappointed with them and like that, hey, you haven't like featured my app, you haven't thrown money at my app. I could have gone to Avalanche or Abstract and they would have given me $500,000 or whatever. Base don't do that. They wait for you to prove yourself. And if you do, they will come in behind you. And yeah, the support has been really good from them.
Yeah.
And they've got a really exciting couple of months coming up as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. And I really think, Base is, I think, a really good fit for you guys. It's just consumer, it's a big company, Coinbase.
Yeah. I mean, if you're trying to onboard like a mainstream guy, they know Coinbase. Like they'll know the brand. If they're going to trust anything, they'll trust that. So that was actually apart from the fact that they actually have good tech and their blockchain exists, which is not always true for some of the chains.
We won't name the names here.
we will name no names. Don't have to. But yeah, like they've got actually decent tech, and they're going in the right direction, and they're the easiest place in my mind to onboard mainstream users to.
Yeah. Have you guys talked to the sports leagues yet, or teams and stuff like that? And I'm curious, what have they say?
We have. So yeah, I mean, like we've had conversations with people like the NBA.
Oh wow. Okay.
They are interested. They tend to want to wait until you've been around longer, and they want to demonstrate. They want to see like a year's worth of bucks and revenue. They're not fast-moving organizations typically, but they are interested in what we're doing, and we're certainly open to working with them. And there's room in our budgets and our revenue model for licensing deals. But what we're looking for is like deals that work for the fans. And our pitch is, hey, we make more money by reaching a bigger audience, keeping our margin like really thin, but that thin margin can still be a hell of a lot of money. We've made over $10 million in 3 months. So yeah, I think it's attractive to them, but they want to see a bit more traction, and that works for us as well. We kind of want to build up and prove ourselves before taking on big costs and licensing deals like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And how about like NBA Top Shot? Like, have you guys talked to the team there, or like?
Not directly to the Top Shot guys.
Okay.
I mean, I think they're still cooking.
Yeah.
And it exists. But yeah, I don't know what they're doing directly, but I always loved that product, and I think we were chatting just before the podcast about that's how you came into crypto, and I hear that story so often. I think NBA Top Shot is probably credited with onboarding more people into crypto than anything I know.
At the height of NBA Top Shot, they ran ads with Kevin Durant during the NBA playoffs.
That's wild, isn't it?
It's so wild. And it was like literally people on the playground. It was like, hey, what are you doing here? Like, hey, I'm collecting Top Shot. And I remember I was watching a playoff game with some friends, and I was like, oh, this is like a great case study. So I'm like sitting there observing them watching the commercial. And it's not very bullish, but like they're like, why would anyone buy this? But hey, that was crazy. Like to have an NFT project be on a commercial in the biggest news network, biggest channels in the US during the NBA playoffs.
I think my observation on Top Shot, I think it's great. I think NFTs are like a bottom of funnel thing rather than a top of the funnel thing. So I think to care about those moments and those NFTs, they first got to have something to do. Like if it's like CS skins, right?
Yeah.
CS skins are valuable because everyone believes that game is going to be the game for like a long time. and they've become attached to the gameplay, and they know that it's going to be around. But that is the exception, whereas 99% of other shooters, no one cares about the skins. They only trade like the really top projects. So I think an NBA Top Shot style NFT or mechanic could absolutely work, but you'd need a game that people were really invested in already. So it might be a future for Football.Fun is like, hey, 3-4 years time, or maybe even sooner, if we've got this like economy that is really sticky, then you can start introducing collectibles, because then people care. At the moment, no one cares, right? You need that reason why. So my ambition for Football.Fun isn't just the cash. It's actually a skill-based game. And I want being the best player in Football.Fun to be a flex, right? And if that becomes true, then holding the NFT that proves that you are, or like, let's say you get the NFT because you're the top in the league and that's the only way to get it, then people start caring because it becomes a flex.
It becomes rare.
But introducing NFTs now would just be a waste of time. Like,
it's kind of like anything when it comes to collectibles, right? Getting the rare one of ones or something, like it's worth something. Like the Pokemon cards, the sneakers. We were talking about sneakers before we recorded, right?
I think the problem is like a lot of NFT projects try to skip the 10 years or 5 years before that it takes to build an IP that people care about. So Pokemon are well within their rights to have NFTs. Makes sense. Average NFT project that just rocks up with some ChatGPT art, like why? Like you've got to put in the hard work to make that valuable.
Yeah. No, that's actually a really good point about like this NFTs in general is a collectible item.
Yeah.
Right. Because I feel like in our industry, it's more of an investment, an asset where you're gonna trade eventually. Versus, I feel like the real NFTs.
It sort of is. I don't think NFT is going away. I think people are way too bearish on them. I think they're gonna find their usage, and I think it is in collectibles. So if you look at our platform, most early iterations of trading games used NFTs. My thesis is NFTs are actually not great for trading. They're liquid. The top ones end up being too expensive to onboard like mass people, or they become so numerous that they become innately not valuable. They're also not that liquid, so like you have to find someone else to buy your NFT, and if no one's buying, it sucks. So Football.Fun is all based around like Uniswap, basically. So is actually a fork of Uniswap. We've adapted it and modified it a lot, but the core of that code is actually Uniswap. So this gives us like really fast liquid trading. You can always sell your player. There's never a moment when you can't sell. So you've always got that feeling of I'm always liquid here. They're just better for trading because they're faster. And one of the things I learned from building the So Rare free to play was when you try to onboard, and I like So Rare, by the way. I'm not ragging on it. It's just like
and they're still around. Right?
They're still around. They're still doing good. But the world will have more than one great football like game, for more than one great sports game. They're different styles, and people play both or one or the other. It's fine. But one of the things I learned was like the NFT model. It was quite exclusive in that most football fans, they want to hold Ronaldo or Messi. They don't want to hold like some Belgian second tier player that they've never heard of. The problem with NFTs is that the prices get so high that it forces people to either buy cheap players that they don't know or not play. But what you need to do is actually connect them with the games they're watching every single week and the top stars. And if they're not affordable, you're never going to hit mainstream. Our game does that because with $10, you can always buy $10 of your favorite player in the same way you can always buy $10 of Bitcoin. So that's why I think the DEX model is better. And this is why our game is working and generating volume and revenue in ways others are not. It's because it's actually based around fast, liquid trading, not illiquid things that get stuck. So it's actually gamifying a model that everyone knows works, which is the trading of tokens.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Like how when I logged into Football.Fun or Sport.Fun, right, the NFL side of things, right, like you can purchase a Mahomes, right, just like Bitcoin, like a $10 worth of Mahomes, right? Just like $10 worth of Bitcoin, which is a pretty cool concept. And I feel like even the normies kind of, it's easier for them to grasp. Oh, okay.
They get that. They've been trading like Madden or FIFA Ultimate Team for years. Like trading that stuff is not unusual. You just have to clear all the other stuff out of the way. We've done a good partnership with MoonPay recently, so now you can buy with credit card.
Huge. Yeah.
It's really interesting. Like MoonPay was super keen to work with us, which I was surprised about. Like they reached out and were like, "Hey, do you want to partner on this?" And I'm like, a little bit flattered, a little bit suspicious, because I'm like, "Hey, like you could work with anyone," and they're like, "Well, this is actually something we see going mainstream." And a lot of people one advantage we do have is that a lot of the big organizations are really tired of servicing crap, like working with vaporware or products they don't really see going anywhere. So we get a lot of credit sometimes from these bigger orgs because they're like, "Hey, this is actually something we want to see win. So we want to make sure MoonPay is the one embedded in your game, and Coinbase do want to promote us." And yeah, we've got some other announcements coming up with like other big names as well soon, which is cool. But you do get that. For all I was saying about crypto being a knife fight, if you do the right things and you're building the right kind of product, you do also get a lot of help and support out there as well.
Yeah. How do you describe Football.Fun to Web2 people, to normies, to normal people?
I'd say it's essentially a kind of fantasy trading game. We're actually yet to hit that arc where we're going too far out of our way to do that.
Okay.
That's going to be next year where we're going to sharpen that message. So the Web3 audience, we basically talk about it being a gamified prediction market. It's like a more medium-term prediction market where you're actually betting or playing with like the idea of, hey, I'm going to hold these players. It's a skill-based game, climbing the leaderboard. I want to win. And then you're not selling to us. You're selling to this decentralized market in the middle. You're actually playing against other players in the game. So yeah, I think a lot of crypto guys really get that. It's kind of a microcosm of how they trade anything from like meme coins to others. That it can be a little bit PvP. And that is something like Web3 people find really easy to like immediately understand. I think the Web2 crowd, they want a slightly different experience, which is fantasy and skill first, supported by trading. So yeah, we'll be certainly in the free-to-play version of the product as well. Like some of the developments we're making is like make this like very obviously skill-based, have leaderboards and divisions and ranks to climb and other kinds of progression as well. So yeah, I think we're about 4 or 5 months away from our big Web2 push, because you've got to do that at the right time. Otherwise you just waste your money. You've got to like brigade your marketing spend at a time when that you're going to keep those users, that they enjoy it. We've already been running it through like Web2 test groups. And yeah, the feedback is like, hey, we see a fun game in here, but it's too hard, right? We're not getting this straight away, which is what we expected. So we now have that feedback as a baseline. We're making the changes we need to play. We're going to throw it back to those test groups. And if they go, yep, I get this now, that is when we'll turn on like the marketing spend next year.
Yeah, that makes sense, because yes, I have to admit, definitely it's version 1 right now, the interface. And
It's so bare bones. Actually, people have been quite impressed with how much we have done, but I am still embarrassed by it. Like it hasn't matched yet the vision that is on our heads. And we know that's the case. Like if you waited until that point to release it, you would have released way too late.
Yeah.
You need to sort of get it out there and prove that it's fun. And what the feedback we're getting is, hey, there's a really good game in here. There's some rough edges that we're working on. The liquidity isn't always there. Like they sometimes feel like, hey, sometimes I make money and I don't know why, because the market is happy that day. And then other times the market is sad. So I feel like, hey, I won the sport, but the market still went down. So am I still winning? Which is a function of an open market. So like the best part of our game is it's an open market. And I would also say the worst part of our game is that it can be an open market because people trade. So it's really about how do we create the right environment and incentives so that people want to play for a longer period of time. and they want to trade around the sport more so than trading against each other, I think is the long-term future of the product.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, it's only 14 months. I know that's like ages ago in crypto.
Yeah.
But for a real product, that's like nothing. Right?
Yeah.
That's just a start.
And we were a lot smaller as well when we first started out. So it's kind of like only 3 months since August when we really launched fully. And that feels like a lifetime. Like I can barely remember what I did before the last 3 months, but that's only 12 weeks. And if you I did a little memo for investors last week where I listed basically everything we'd done in the last 12 weeks. And I was just like, Jesus Christ. Like if we keep going at that pace, the amount we could get through in 6 months is just wild. And then it will start hitting that vision we've got in our heads. And I think there's a lot of parts that will just kind of click together one day where we've got like reputation systems that are good for retention to keep you playing. So you get benefits for sticking around and playing and like perks. We've got leaderboards that give you like new ways to win and flex. We've got social features that allow you to like chat about the matches and the games and see how your friends did that week as well. Like all this stuff comes together and it will click. And then that is when we'll really go to war on the marketing next year.
Yeah. So big things ahead, huh? We're looking forward to in 2026.
So that's the plan.
Yeah. So yeah, I know we're closing out this space. It's been an amazing conversation here. I do this with all my guests, but what's next for you personally? What's next for Football.Fun? Something that people can be looking forward to. Yeah. At least we're closing out. I guess we're recording this is the end of the year in 2025. I guess as we look to 2026.
Yeah. Lots. So we're not slowing down. We've got a huge next week, which will be during Solana Breakpoint. We've got a huge set of announcements coming. I'm just trying to think if I can leak any of them. I don't think I can. The difficulty with
are you guys going to be like speaking? Are you going to be speaking there?
I will be around at Solana Breakpoint. I'm doing a few podcasts there. I'm not doing the stage this year. We're not on Solana yet. And
yet, guys.
So yeah, that's not an announcement that we're moving, but I think like we're absolutely 100% staying on Base. But you've seen Base release this week that they are allowing that kind of interoperability. So we're just kind of making it's an ambition to like make it easier to like use Solana in the game rather than you having to bridge your coin. So it's really about that kind of like ease of use across multiple different audiences, which I think makes a big difference. But no, we've got some huge announcements. We've got some big investors to announce, like the big investors to announce, which is going to be amazing. We have teased Kraken, who are going to do our pre-sale ICO with Legion, who have done, they've done some really, really great ICOs. So yeah, ICO very soon afterwards. We do our TGE of the Fun token. Obviously, we're seeking to reward like the players of our game, who is like particularly those who have stuck with us in the good times and the bad times. That's going to be a really exciting time. And then really, it's a case of making the product better every single week, hitting the World Cup, which will be a huge moment, I think.
When is that?
June. So that's June.
Okay.
So that's USA hosted. Because of NFL, United States is actually our number one source of users now, which is really interesting. If you're an investor or like kind of marketing specialist, that is kind of unprecedented in crypto. Like having our user base is from a very like high value economy like geos, which is really bullish. So that's kind of one of the reasons we moved NFL in this period as well. So yeah, we'll build towards that kind of massive event for the World Cup, which is in June, as our like next huge thing. But yeah, the next month and January is packed with like more announcements that are going to get people excited as well.
Yeah, let's go. Well, Adam, it's really appreciate you coming by
My
the
pleasure.
podcast, and yeah, wish you guys luck.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.